Not a problem.
There we go. Yeah, we're recording. Hey, let me do my basic intro. Hi, it's March 21st at 8:21 p.m. Number one, I was late coming to the party. I advertised that it was going to start at 7 and I started it at 8. And number two, what's number two? Oh, I forgot to start the recording. So we're starting the recording at 8:21 instead of 8 o'clock. There's a lot of stuff that's already been missed, but that's okay. Okay, back to our regularly scheduled program. So I don't know. What do you guys think of this crash course idea? Sound good?
I think it's a great place to start.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, I want to, if I can get 30 people, 35 people in the room to pay the registration fee, which is $5,000 for 5 days, then I think we'll be able to generate some surplus. Then the North American office can start building up, some opportunities to, hire a lawyer, hire an accountant, get some office space, that kind of stuff. If we're making so much money that we don't know what to do with it, we'll be funding research with it. So one of the things, personally, I always thought International Space University should be doing more university stuff. So what I'd like to be able to do is, we're in the education and training activities, we've got those activities going on. I'd like to get some more research going on, at least here in North America too. So I've got ideas of research I'd like to have done, as well as we can, put out calls for research and give grants. So that's what we're hoping to be able to do with the funding that we get in. So fund operations and then research, I think, is our goal. So that's kind of where things are at. We're moving forward on it. I've had this idea kind of since October. And so I've been mulling over it and refining it and, talking to folks about it, socializing it, getting a lot of good ideas. And so I think it's kind of ready to put up or shut up, right? Quit talking and let's see if we can do it. So that's kind of where we're at.
Do you have some help from the U.S. Alumni Committee? I guess there's a committee. There was.
Yeah, there is a U.S. Alumni Committee. What I'm hoping I can get from them is, again, visibility, I think, is one of the major things that we really need. But right now, we're not relying on the alumni community. Again, we're planning to pay for the services we use. So it could be that we pay the alumni organization or alumni to help me run this thing, especially once we've done the first one. But right now, that it hasn't been, there's no arrangements for that. We have talked to other organizations to try to act as, kind of, I want to say headhunters, but basically, find organizations that can attract people to register for the course. And then that organization would get a finder's fee for the folks that the registrations they're able to sell for the course. So we're looking at doing that. The crash course itself is sort of agnostic in terms of where it needs to be or who it's serving, kind of thing. There are different target audiences you can go after, but this whole idea originated actually with the idea of diversity development. And so this is the DD variant. Instead of CC for crash course, it's DD for diversity development, where we would go to an HBCU, a historically Black college or university, or we'd go to some minority serving institution, whether it's Indigenous peoples or it's Hispanic or whatever, and we would we would offer to do the course at their location. So if they said you could come and use our facilities at no cost, we would then provide them, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 complimentary participants in the course. So members of that organization could come and take the course in addition to the 30 or 40 paying participants. And then the hope is that the interaction and the networking will provide career opportunities for the HBCU or the MSI students at the organizations of the paying participants. So if Boeing and Lockheed send people, they would be interacting with folks at an HBCU or a minority serving institution. And the hope would be that people make impressions on each other, and that leads to employment opportunities at the larger firms. So it increases the diversity of the firms, and it creates the networking opportunities for the host organization and the students. And so hopefully that's a win-win.
That's right.
Sorry.
it's a good corporate social responsibility model.
Right. In terms of CSR, I think it's good. You know, a lot of these companies are already doing stuff, and they're doing stuff with HBCUs and whatnot. This is just a way to encourage it through the ISU context. We're also looking at doing this. So that, you know, CC was crash course, DD was diversity development. I have an EE variant, which is en Espanol. So we're hoping to do this in Spanish, and that would be really good. So in the United States, the predominantly Spanish communities would be in Florida and Arizona and Texas and California, but also New Mexico, and then start heading south, head into Mexico. We could do this in Mexico. We could do this in South America in Spanish. I don't have Portuguese on the radar yet, but yeah, doing it in Spanish, I think would be really, really interesting. The concept could be taken overseas. You could run it anywhere, basically. Just give me a date and a location. I'll arrange to have lecturers show up, you know, and then and we could do this in the UK. We could do this in India, you know, in English. But yeah, it could be done anywhere. And then actually, we've got an FF variant. Remember, I mentioned that we could have we could really customize the content. Let's say an organization says, "Oh, great, we did the crash course and it was wonderful, but now can you do it again, but focus on 1 or 2 or 3 departments?" So we could have focused follow-ups of this type of activity, and that would just take a little bit more logistics, getting the right lecturers, but the framework is the same, the business model is the same, the operating model is the same. So all that changes there is the content and the scope and the depth of the content, and so that should be pretty easy to change out. It's just a matter of finding the lecturers, and you know, we're trying to think of different ways to make it interesting. But right now, to be realistic about it, that's kind of getting ahead of ourselves. We actually need to do it and see how it goes.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of experience running summer program, the SSP. I've got a lot of experience running other types of conferences and stuff. So doing a 5-day thing like this should really not be a big deal. At least I don't think it is. I mean, I could be totally wrong, but you know, this is why I want to run it once before we start really ramping it up, just to make sure that, you know, I'm not diluting myself and that there's really a market there. So, you know, we're looking at different locations for the first one. You know, we're looking at different locations in Florida and New York or in Texas. So there's a lot of opportunities there. And like I said, we could go anywhere there's a desire. So if there's places in Canada, I was talking with some Canadian MSS alumni this week, end of last week, maybe, or maybe I think it was end of last week. I was talking with Dina Smith. And so we were talking about how this could be interesting for the Indigenous peoples communities in Canada. I mean, Canadian Space Agency, I guess, has got a rule that, you know, every contract has got to have a certain number of Indigenous company, you know, led companies on the contract. And this would help bring a bunch of folks who are not necessarily that attuned to the space sector. It would, you know, this would be, again, what's that poem say? You know, fast, knowledge vast, whatever the thing is, you know, that would be what we want to do. I should know that line because it's such a good line. And I'm going to find it.
Well, it's a great set of opportunities. I mean, the executive professional market initiative at 5,000 for 1 week. That's you need to start there, obviously, and I think you'll find easy demand. I think you'll find ready demand.
Well, it's funny, Dwayne, because the Europeans, they shudder when you say 5K. The Americans and North Americans, they don't shudder when you say 5K.
Well, of course, a lot of companies here will fund or co-fund. A lot of look every year they'll say, "Hey, for professional development, we'll pay for half, or we'll pay for all of it." And find an activity. I've been in departments where they would say, "Hey, you know, we support you to do this. Find something that's that matches what we're trying to do, and it would make you know, be enriching."
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? It would. So we'll see. I agree with you 100%. In fact, you know, when I showed my presentation, I don't even remember the title slide, the picture on the title slide was showing Starship, but my idea is kind of to have that, the first, one of my ideas is to have that first crash course pilot program in Brownsville. And because I would think that a lot of people would want to come down to Brownsville, Texas to, learn about the space sector, and then, be able to go on a little site visit at Starbase. So
and these HR departments are your allies. And these corporate and these companies, they're looking for, and see, the advantage of ISU is that it sells itself. I mean, it already has, from my point of view, it has a brand, but it's been using word of mouth, informal context. It's never had formal marketing at all in its history. From what I can see, it's all been alumni and referrals and people, kind of insiders, but they've never had a marketing budget of any substance. It's been one-to-one, right? And so I'm a marketing person back in the telecom industry and so on. So that's where I see the missing element to really grow what the ISU could do at different levels. It could be online segment, huge demand. There's a huge demand on the executive or young professionals. People want to upgrade and want to get into this industry. There's a lot of people who want to get into the commercial space industry now that it's really showing momentum in a big way in the last 2 years.
I think you're right, Dwayne. And, in fact, we just heard about today again about another 9,000 Amazon employees laid off. My nephew is one of the folks that were laid off. And, a lot of the folks that were laid off, number one, they were well paid before they were laid off, and they got a good severance package when they came out. So if they're thinking about getting into the space sector, because they got to find a work, and space sector is pretty much growing still, even though Virgin Orbit just went out. I mean, a lot of folks would be really interested in taking this course to get up to speed. As this is a fleeting chance to grasp the knowledge vast. And so, we want to provide them this opportunity of grasping vast amounts of knowledge very quickly. So right now, the way I've got the course set up, and when I talk about a 1 hour lecture, I mean 48 minutes with a 12-minute break. So it's an academic hour. So, but I'm talking 7 hours in 3 days in a row. So it's going to be a grueling week, but what do you expect, right? We're not going to have a team project. We're going to have these interdisciplinary discussions at the end of the day, but folks will be saturated. And so that's why in the notional schedule I have, I'm not programming them every single evening. I'm assuming that people either live in the area or they want to relax. So give them their evenings off. One of the evenings, we're going to have this networking event is the concept. But everybody, all the rest of the evening, they get time to detox or relax a little bit and prepare for the next day. So it's kind of the concept in my mind is perfect and it's flawless, but we'll have to see how it works out. But you're right. I mean, if I could generate some income, I can start doing some marketing. And I think, like you said, we really need to get some marketing going here. And ISU does have a great brand. It's just right now in the United States and North America, it has very low visibility. I mean, 30 years ago, ISU, everybody in the space industry knew ISU, but it's sort of tapered off in the last 2 or 3 decades. And so it's at this low level. And so we need to kick it up a notch again. So that's kind of what we're trying to do.
I'm glad to hear that, Ken, because I see a huge amount of potential. I mean, Friends of NASA has almost 19,000 members.
Yeah.
And it's got all levels, from students, university students to graduate students to working professionals, get the whole mix. And an incentive plan would be at 5,000 per seat. You can create an incentive plan where you could get different agents or representatives you can selectively choose to, and that would help you to source people very quickly and easily. That kind of incentive model. But,
I like that kind of thinking, Dwayne. Boy, I need to drink whatever you're drinking, because I'm not a marketing guy. I'm an engineer too, and then program management and stuff. But boy, this is what I got to do. And so I need to get the word out. So thank you very much for letting me, post to Friends of NASA. And, I think that is a great target audience, because it is all levels. And a lot of people ask me, what's the difference between Crash Course and the executive space course that ISU has? And other than the executive space course has the name executive in it, number one. So that can be a selling point, but it also could be a little bit of an exclusionary kind of activity to it. The Crash Course is sort of an appetizer of other ISU programs that could be available. It could absolutely be an entree to the SSP or the MSS.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're upselling. That's
Yeah.
what we call it, right? You're upselling other ISU programs, and it's a discovery process,
Right.
and they're paying for it, which is great. I mean, it's hard for industries would love to be able to do that.
Well, and the thing is, I'm sorry, go, Abraham.
No, so one of the things I want to say is in terms of marketing and rebranding in a way, you always want to give people something different for them to feel like, okay, I'm getting a different thing that is different from what people are used to. And so far, they have that idea of, okay, they are getting a different thing. And okay, they are being introduced to the space sector in a different way. And most likely they're going to get a big result within a very short period of time without having to go through the, so to speak, the executive way, and they still get it and they get the job done. The major thing I see here is that in my little time here is that the mindset of people in the North American area is completely different from Africans and Europeans. So the mindset is completely different. People want to get things done faster and quicker, get the result. So, I mean, I'm saying, like, if it's from an approach of you get everything you need fast, quick, easy in 1 week, and you're ready to go.
I don't know about easy, but fast and quick. And it's going to be hot and it's going to be hot and cheap and quick. Well, it's not going to be cheap, but it's going to be hot and it's going to be quick. And I can't promise that they're going to get a job right away. But boy, the network is there to help you, and we've got a really strong network. SGAC is a great organization. I would say right now SGAC is beating the pants off of ISU in terms of activity and doing the activities associated with IAC and Space Symposium and stuff. So I love the fact that SGAC is out there, and I love the fact that ISU is associated with SGAC. SGAC came out of ISU, and so there's a bond there, and ISU just needs to pick up its game. And like you said, North America is different than Europe, and since ISU moved to Europe in 1992, it's been thriving, but it's taken on a European kind of concept. It's really interesting because when I was starting this crash course, everybody's saying, "Oh, you could get grants from this NASA, or you can get scholarships from so and so." And I'm sitting there going, "I don't want grants and scholarships. I want people to buy registrations. I want people to pay for registration and come take the class and think that they got something of value. I want to sell the thing. I don't want to, get handouts or, you spend so much time looking for money. I'd rather just sell and provide a good service that people want to come back for. So, and people are, happy they took. So that's kind of one thing we're doing, which is very different, I think, than many of the other ISU programs. We're not going to be able to offer scholarships or something. If people want to go get money on their own, knock yourself out. But, we're just providing opportunities to take this class, and it's going to cost $5,000 a seat for this week. Come one, come all. We'll see what happens. I'm going to have to put a minimum size on the class, because if we don't reach a minimum, it's not going to be worth doing. But I don't think we're going to have problems getting to that minimum number.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, go ahead, Dwayne.
Oh, I was just going to say, if you give them something concrete, a certificate, that's the very common vehicle, right, in the private industry, right? You give someone a certificate program of some kind. And if you call it a crash course, the advantage there is that executive is intimidating for some people.
Right.
But if you say, oh, this is open to all, they can afford it, obviously, and get company approval for it, then you're really opening up. And I would make the last night, if you have this networking night, have like someone like Soyun Yi, the Korean astronaut, someone very young, youthful. Have a few astronaut people that are close by, willing to do a guest appearance on the last night. They got to go through the course to get to that last night where they can meet and greet with astronauts. And so the ones that are willing, ISU friendly, they've been through the ISU program, they're loyal to ISU, they're on the alumni committee in the US. If they're willing, if maybe the travel expenses are, obviously you can work that out, but have them there for the final night. That would really bring excitement, and the word of mouth after your first session, it'll sell the second one.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. And I really like your idea of having us like a superstar guest. It does increase the cost. It might be worth it. I mean, my idea of having it at Brownsville I'm kind of using the star base, the proximity to star base as the guest star that draws
Yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah. That
One of the
sounds
other
nice.
one of the other options we have is I'm working with an organization called the Astronaut Memorial Foundation down at the Visitor Center at NASA Kennedy, and they've got a hangar where all the pieces that they've recovered of Challenger and Columbia are laid out. So if we do it there, we would customize the course content a little bit to talk about the impact of these types of accidents on policy, on engineering, on life sciences, on all different aspects on each of the departments. And the culmination there is going and seeing the remnants of those vehicles, and basically having a memorial ceremony.
What I would also encourage you to think about? Space Center Houston, because you're right there, and it's easy to get guests. It's close proximity to where all the astronaut corps is, and it's easy for them to drop in. They're close to their families. They're not far from home, and they have exhibitions there, right? They complement the course. They're going to have a museum experience, right, science experience, and the course material. And they're hungry for attracting events and activities, and they have facilities.
I was talking to somebody from Houston this morning, so that's absolutely great on our radar. And another place which is not necessarily associated with space very much, but we're talking about New York City. So number one, we could we could get like a ceremony or a reception on the Intrepid, which is the big aircraft character. So that would be really cool. And also, I would hope that we would attract some VCs and folks from the financial community who want to know more about space. So Cornell Tech is a satellite campus of Cornell. Of course, Cornell is up in Ithaca, New York,
yes,
many hours north of New York City. But Cornell Tech is on Roosevelt Island, which is directly, right across the river from the United Nations in Manhattan. And so they've got a bunch of buildings there. And we were considering, I did a site visit there a couple months ago. Potentially we were looking to see if we could do a summer program there, but we could absolutely do a crash course there. And again, they would get a couple comps, we would get their facilities, we'd get a bunch of paying people to come to the class, and we're off to the races. So that's kind of that. So between New York, Houston, Brownsville, Kennedy Space Center, Astronaut Memorial Foundation, there's 4 places right there I could hold it, and so now it's just a matter of how often can I pull these things off,
And remember, there's 2 other organizations, the National Space Society, which is huge, and of course the students, SEDS, Students for the Exploration Development of Space. That's another huge student group, and it's international, right? They've got Canadian, UK divisions.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely.
And Explore Mars, I hope you're planning to go next month, or is it May? I guess it's coming out in April or May. It's coming up fast.
The Humans to Mars. Humans to Mars.
Be
Are
there.
you going to be there?
Be there. I can't be there, but I definitely think, you should definitely be there, because
I'm on a panel. I'm going to be on a panel or moderating a panel there. So fantastic. I assume you'll definitely be there. Yeah, definitely. It's there's a lot of places to be, and right now I'm just really trying to figure out where I need to be and what I need something. You can't just be there and say, hi, come to the summer program. I want to start selling something for North America here. So I can start, like I said, so I can set up an office and I can, start creating an ISU presence, start putting in advertising. I'd love to be in all the major publications on the websites so the word gets out. So I think if I'm half as successful as I think I can be, then I think we'll be doing okay.
Well, I can help you at Friends of NASA, the LinkedIn group, to see this first initial run. I can definitely help you promote that.
Oh, that'd be great. So once I get maybe Dwayne, what I'll do is, and you too, Abraham, once I figure, and stay tuned, I'm sure I'll post this stuff on LinkedIn. It'll go on to ISU LinkedIn page. But once I figure out, where it's going to be and when it's going to be, then the push starts, then the major push starts, because now I need to sell tickets. And that's where we're going.
All right. I love the idea though. And I had this crazy idea when Dre was talking, and I don't know how it sounds, but it sounds crazy. And I was like, okay, a crash course that this came from Dre's idea of more like a build up for them looking up to something really great at the end of the event, right?
Yeah.
So the idea that just came to my mind was a crash course with a crash weekend.
Well, that's if you guys want to crash during the weekend, knock yourself out. I'm going to go crash at home. It's, a lot of these folks have families, especially if we, kind of the original idea was if we go to an HBCU, and you're talking about grad students, right? Grad students and professionals. If you go to an HBCU, these folks live in the area, they have families in the area. So the last thing they want to do is totally be programmed like we might program somebody for the space studies program. So this is why I left the evenings open, because folks have families and they have to live up to their responsibilities and stuff. But at the same time, yeah, it'd be great to have some sort of major activity. And if the group wants to organize those things, we'll encourage them to organize them informally. But we are going to have a formal, like I said, that alumni gathering. That might be a good opportunity to start the crash weekend. Yeah, that would be, I think it could grow. I mean, it's a balancing act of doing all these great ideas and having all these great activities versus we want to minimize the cost, minimize the burden on people, get in there, give the program, get out, boom, done. And so, right now I'm tending to err on the side of hot and cheap and quick, get in, get out, and go from there. So I'm sure it's going to evolve over time. And if I can pull off one or two of these, then I'll have enough operating expense that I can hire somebody to run these things for me, that I can then focus on other things that I need to set up. But this is sort of I need to get this pump going, this economic pump going and working so that the rest of ISU North America can. You're
building the formula. Yeah.
I've got that. I'm trying, and I want to go north. I'm trying to get into Canada. So like I said, I've been talking, I've got, I know a lot of the folks up there. And so I was talking to Dave Kendall late last week. And one of the ideas was if we do a thing in New York, well, New York might not be an easy way to do it, but if we can do one in Montreal, for example.
Montreal would be a great choice.
If we did one in Montreal, then Dave Kendall, do you know Dave Kendall is Dwayne?
Absolutely.
So Abraham, Dave Kendall is a former, I forget his exact title.
Chancellor.
He was like science.
It's like a faculty emeritus.
He's an older time faculty. He was sort of like the head of science for the Canadian Space Agency and stuff. He's sort of the Jim Green of the CSA, but 20 years ago. And he said, hey, if you guys do it in Montreal, we'll host a party for you guys. So we'll hop in a bus and we'll drive to his place, and he'll have a tent, he'll have food, he'll host a ISU party, and there'll be some astronauts there and all that sort of stuff. So we could absolutely do it. I'd love to do it in Montreal.
You can get Julie Payette to show up.
Yeah, that'd be great. So in fact, I'm going to be talking to Ram Jaku from McGill here pretty soon, and so I'm going to try to see if we can get McGill to provide us facilities to do this.
And believe me, in Montreal, there's multiple universities. I mean, the ISU I went to in Montreal. I mean, there's a variety of. It's a big university town. So you've got the École Spatiale downtown, right in downtown Montreal, literally aerospace college.
Cool, yeah.
And McGill. McGill is fantastic. You'll have many choices who want to compete to host that.
Well, I mean, and again, all we need is somebody to say, hey, use our facilities. We'll give them a couple comps. Heck, Montreal would be perfect. So that's
yes, absolutely.
So I mean, of course, I know Patrick Condé there and Lucy Stoyak, and so we've got the contacts, I think. So now it's just a matter of doing it. So anyway, yeah, if I can get 30 people in a room, then we'll definitely be able to make some
seed capital.
Yeah, operating capital. I'd be able to really start doing stuff. And I don't think it's unreasonable. I don't think it's going to be hard to get 30 people. And again, maybe I'm deluding myself.
People are waiting for this. I can just tell you, there are people, I mean, just some friends in NASA alone, there's a huge demand for online, because you can go be anywhere, right? Online. So that's a different tier than what we're talking about right now.
Yeah. I'm not, we absolutely lose something when we go online. And
it's true. That's not the ISU prefers in person.
Well, I think anybody, the whole business model changes, everything, even the operating model changes, obviously. So, I mean, I might take you up, Dwayne, on the offer. Maybe I'll post my flyer on the, if it's okay, post it on the Friends of NASA, just to let people, or maybe I should wait till there's a little bit more detail. But right now, like I said, I'm 8 to 12 weeks out. So I'm just getting the word out there that this is coming. And more details are going to be filling in pretty soon. So that's where we're at.
I don't think you have any problem at 30. I think it'll be oversubscribed.
Well, we'll just do it again and again. You know, I'll just do it again.
There'll be a waiting list. You're going to have a waiting list.
That's fantastic. I mean, the beauty is if let's say 60 people sign up, I say, listen, my cap is 30, but we'll schedule another one the following month or something. You know, we can schedule as many as we need. It's just a matter of finding a place to do it. And like someplace like Brownsville, I don't even need to find a place. I'll just work a deal with a hotel where, you know, everybody come here, you get a discounted rate. They get 40 rooms filled up, and we get free access to their conference facilities and stuff. So, I mean, you know, there are different ways to work it. And so we'll see what happens. I think an academic classroom would be best because, you know, amphitheater would be wonderful. But we'll see what happens. It's just going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm really encouraged from talking to you, Abraham and Dwayne about this, because I think it's going to be a fun ride, you know?
Right place, right time, Ken.
I hope so.
Yeah, I believe it's a great idea too.
I'm glad to hear that. You know, there are a lot of space education programs popping up. University of Michigan's got one. I just saw another one in Europe pop up, a space entrepreneurship thing. Arizona State, of course, has got one, but they don't have the global faculty. They don't have the 3I. They don't have the benefit for all humanity kind of in the credo. Yeah. I mean, this is all the things that I think still makes, after 35 years, still makes ISU unique. And so people are doing bits and pieces of what ISU does, but nobody does the full 7 departments. Nobody does the global faculty like we do. So this is what gets me excited. Is these other programs are not competitors. These are complementers. And so we're just filling part of the ecosystem. And in fact, we were there. ISU is one of the originators of this ecosystem. So we need to be able to, like Dwayne said, we need to be able to amplify this message through marketing. And so that's what I hope to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, one of the things I know very sure of is that a lot of these smaller ones that are just popping up actually came out as a result of the less marketing, so to speak, of ISU. So that's I believe when that level of intensity from ISU came down a bit, that's when these other ones felt they could actually start doing something.
They saw a void and they filled it, right?
Yeah. So if ISU just brings back his stamp the way it was before and just exudes its power and its presence and what is able to, you know, give, then that actually just changes the impact, especially in this region. Because like Dwayne was saying, there's a whole level of the number of youth and the people that are yearning for the knowledge, the hunger is just increasing by the day. It's increasing.
You know, you're making me think, you know, waking the giant, you know, we're waking the giant. And if that's what happens, boy, it's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. That's all I know.
Yeah. So, yes, exactly.
Okay. Listen, you guys, it's 8:54. Any last great, famous last words you want to add before we wrap up here? This has been a great conversation. Anything?
Wow.
Simply stay in touch. I hope you've got my contact information. Hopefully, if not, I'll just throw some right in the chat here.
Okay, yeah. I'm just ken.davidian at ISU-NET.edu. But sure, I'll grab your thing off the chat, and I'll check with you, Dwayne, before I post anything too major on Friends of NASA site. I want to respect your sovereignty of that site, and I don't want to abuse it. But boy, I think that is a great audience, and it is a great channel.
And remember, I mean, one of the tools is a LinkedIn group. You can broadcast to the whole membership.
That's great.
And email blast to the whole membership.
That's fantastic.
So I mean,
and you don't mind? You don't mind?
For the first session? Oh, absolutely.
Perfect. Yeah, no problem. This could be a lot of fun. Okay, listen, let's sign off, guys. It was a great, energizing discussion. If you ever need me, like I said, just here, let me type it in here just so you guys have it. ken.davidian@isu-net.edu. Send me an email if you ever need anything. Just let me know. And if you go to this, if you go to this QR code, and I'll post, I'm sure next time we do one of these Alumni Day calls, It will be at 8 p.m. I'll make sure that the signs and everything says 8 p.m. so that we don't have this problem again.
Yeah,
Next time.
Dwayne, it was really nice to talk to you. I know this is our first time, but I look forward to talking to you again.
I just want to say
very soon.
congratulations, Abraham, on
Oh, thank you so much.
You know, that's wonderful you're back in here with your family.
With your family,
Yeah,
right?
thank
That's
you.
what matters.
Yeah, thank you. It's the best. It's the best.
Yeah.
Good.
Nothing
So-
can replace that.
The
That's
future
right.
is bright for you.
Yeah, thank you. Ken, I look forward to maybe seeing you again very soon.
Yeah, that'd be
Because
great.
you're not far away. Yeah.
Okay. See you
All the
guys.
best.
All
Good
right.
night now.
Ciao.
Yeah.
Good
Ciao,
night.
ciao. Yeah. Okay.
See you later.
Bye-bye.